Hello everybody. This is Sergey Kislenkov, and today I'm going to be presenting my fighter jets computer science final project. And so this project is essentially a fighter jet game where there are two players and they both start on opposite sides of the screen. They both got bullets, and the first person to 10 points actually wins. And essentially we've got a bunch of controls. The player on the left, which controls the blue jet, has the A to turn left, D to turn right, and W to fire, while the jet on the right has the left and right arrow keys as well as the up arrow key to fire. So here's our fighter jets class. This is one of many classes that I have here in my game. We've got the main in this class actually, so it's got our run function, it's got our try catch block, which makes sure the window actually works. And so we have got a couple other classes here. Let me just take a look at the game panel. So game panel kind of just connects everything together. It connects it actually creates a game object where it can create all of the objects necessary to be displayed on the screen. Here we've got the game class. Now the game class is the absolute behemoth of a class because it's got all of these instance variables and it's got a bunch of methods that all have a certain function that they do. Here we've got our key pressed and key release detection where it'll check for user input and respond accordingly. Here we've got check hits where it checks if jets hit each other or it checks if a bullet has hit a jet. So the move all function obviously moves all of the objects on the screen as it has to. The fire bullet function spawns a bullet on a jet that has hit the fire key. And process turns, of course, makes it so that we can actually be turning more than one jet at a time, which is pretty cool. Stop and start timer, we actually run the game and the speed of the objects based on the time that has passed and the time that is passing. So yeah, and then here we've got the flying object class. This is actually the parent class for both the jet and bullet classes because they are both flying objects, of course. So we've got our abstract get length method, and that's different for both jet and bullet, which is why it's abstract. And then we've got our move function, which moves based on time, actually. So we input the time there. And then we have got our get velocity, get direction. And then here we're checking to see if the object that is flying is actually on the screen, which is important for our teleport function, which actually implements the excuse me, it implements the screen wrapping, which lets the jets go up here and then come out down here, so that they don't just keep flying in a straight line off the screen. Alright, so now we've got our jet class. We've got our reset function, which puts it back to its initial spot there. We've got expire bullets, which for the jet to shoot a bullet and for it to expire, it has to actually have a method for that. So we've got that. We've got check hits, which for this is a little bit different. It checks if a bullet hits a jet rather than just checking for jet collisions. Of course, we've got a bunch of getters, and of course, we have our draw method that actually draws our jets. Of course, we've got our bullet class. Here we've got a bunch of instance variables. We've got our constructor. We've got our has expired method, explode method, our get length, our move, and our draw, which creates it, of course. This is our point class. Now this actually does all the fancy schmancy stuff where it'll essentially make sure that everything is rotating around the center of the object. Last but not least, this isn't really a class, but it's still part of it. This is our space image background thing where it'll just have this in the background, and that's pretty cool just to give some more immersion to the customer here. So let's not waste any more time going over the nerdy stuff. I've got my sister here with me, and we are going to play the game and demonstrate some of the features that it has. So, of course, my sister is on my left, and she's controlling the blue plane with W, A, and D, and I'm controlling the red plane using the left, up, and right arrow keys. So, we've got, as I was mentioning earlier, we've got screen warping, where an object, as you can see, we just flew through from the right to the left and from up to down. So it'll actually do the same thing when you fire a bullet. The bullets actually do wrap as well, which is pretty neat. And of course, as I was mentioning earlier, the bullets do expire after a certain distance they have traveled, which in our case is 960 pixels, otherwise known as half the screen of a 1080p screen, of course. So now we're actually going to demonstrate running into each other. So when the jets run into each other, they both reset and they are both awarded a point. And that's because they both essentially killed each other. And so, of course, you're also awarded points for hitting the other jet with a bullet, as I'm doing now. I actually hit her 3 times there because of the way my bullets are traveling and the way the jets respawn. So, yeah, and of course, we have the pause button. The pause button, of course, pauses the game. It pauses everything that's going on so that you can go and have your water break or whatever you need to refresh yourself from this exciting game. What's next? What else is important? Oh yeah, of course, you can actually win the game by accumulating 10 points. So I'm going to do that here in a second. So as you can see, it says game over, red player wins, and depending on if the blue player or red player wins, it actually displays this text in a different color, which I think is pretty neat. And yeah, that's about it. And our last feature here with our game is the escape function, which closes the window and closes the game. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this I hope you enjoyed this video demonstrating the Fighter Jets game, and hopefully soon this will be uploaded to a website so that everybody can experience the miracle that is Fighter Jets. Thank you for listening.